Good evening and welcome to BATV News. I'm Kalila Reynolds. Multinational oil and gas exploration company Tullow Oil says it's seen images of what could be a major oil repository off Jamaica's shores. They're now using 3D imaging to take a closer look. Energy Minister Dr. Andrew Wheatley says it's the first time in Jamaica's history that an oil explorer will carry out such detailed analysis. He made the announcement this morning while giving the keynote address at the first Jamaica Natural Gas Conference in Kingston. Andrew Laidley reports.
Could Jamaica be on the verge of a major oil find? According to Energy Minister Dr. Andrew Wheatley, Tullow Oil has seen the most promising signs yet as they continue exploration offshore.
Ladies and gentlemen, today I am thrilled to announce that based on the findings of these investigations, Tullow has recently confirmed that they will now move forward to 3D surveys. This means, ladies and gentlemen, that the data from previous investigations has been so encouraging that the explorers now want to take a more in-depth look. This is indeed a significant development.
And now it's on to the next phase.
It marks the first time in the history of Jamaica's oil and gas exploration program that an explorer will carry out such detailed analysis of our offshore.
Minister Wheatley says this development should encourage other companies to explore Jamaica's offshore blocks.
This development will no doubt send a signal to other prospective explorers that they should consider Jamaica. We believe that this will pave the way for the PCJ as they continue their drive to engage other capable explorers to take up Jamaica's 20 available blocks.
Tullow Oil carried out 2 rounds of 2D seismic investigations in 11 of Jamaica's offshore blocks within the last 18 months. For BATV News, I'm Andrew Laidley.
The Jamaican economy contracted in the first quarter of this year. That's according to Acting Financial Secretary Darlene Morrison, who revealed this morning that previous reports from Statin showing positive growth were only a projection. She was speaking during today's sitting of Parliament's Public Administration and Appropriations Committee, PAAC. Here's more from Jason Moo Young.
Just last month, the Andrew Holness administration was celebrating the news that the economy had recorded 10 consecutive quarters of positive growth. It might not have been major growth, just 0.3%, which is pretty close to flat, but at least it was a positive number. Now the acting financial secretary says that was just a projection. The new data from the Statistical Institute of Jamaica, Statin, reveals growth was actually negative in the first quarter of the fiscal year.
The actual fiscal policy paper that was tabled had indicated a projected growth of 0.3% for the first quarter of 17-18, but since the tabling, the Statistical Institute has provided the actual performance, which is actually a contraction of 0.1%. So this outturn is now lower than the 0.1% growth, which was recorded for the January to March quarter of 16-17.
This was impacted by the heavy rains in the first quarter of the fiscal year, which caused extensive damage to the agricultural sector. The revelation prompted PAAC member Philip Paulwell to question whether the country is heading towards a recession.
The second quarter for me looks like a no growth again, especially because I'm aware that some of what was expected with, say, Alpat will be pushed to the third quarter. And I suspect you might have and want to share with us what is your view of the second quarter in relation to that, because it is anticipated that that is going to be a decline as well. And probably you can just remind the committee as well of the definition for recession.
PIOJ Director General Wayne Henry responded that he does not believe a recession is imminent.
A recession is defined as 2 consecutive quarters, 2 to 3 consecutive quarters of negative growth or of contraction in an economy. And so we are not in recession.
Meanwhile, the acting financial secretary says the economy is expected to see positive growth at the end of the fiscal year.
The economic outlook, however, remains positive, and real GDP growth is projected to grow within the range of 1 to 2% for the fiscal year. And this is predicated on performance of both the goods producing and services industries. The forecasted expansion reflects growth in manufacture, electricity and water supply, hotels and restaurants, as well as agriculture, forestry and fishing.
For BATV News, I'm Jason Muyong.
Bank of Jamaica Governor Brian Winter says the Jamaican dollar gained more than it lost in the first half of this fiscal year. It's the first time this has happened in many years. Mr. Winter was addressing today's sitting of the Public Administration and Appropriations Committee, PAAC. Anthony Morgan reports.
BOJ Governor Brian Winter says that the Jamaican dollar is doing much better than last year.
The Jamaican dollar appreciated on 66 separate days over the first half of this fiscal year. It depreciated on 60 separate days in the first half of this year. For comparison, just looking at the same period the year before, in 2016-17, where it appreciated on just 25 days during that year, while it depreciated on 104 days during separate days during that period.
He says that the dollar is now moving in two directions rather than one way. For the first 12 months up to October 2, the exchange rate depreciated by 1% compared to over 7% during the same period last year.
The slide, that is the common term being used, where it just goes one way, we have moved from that at last, Chairman, to a two-way market. The dollar goes up and it goes down. This can occur and has occurred, is occurring when the exchange rate, firstly, it is important that the exchange rate is in this zone of what we would call fairly valued.
Mr. Winter says the positive foreign exchange results can be attributed to the stability in the market and the bank's interventions such as the weekly foreign exchange auction B-Fix-It.
The B-Fix-It, the Bank of Jamaica Foreign Exchange Intervention and Trading Tool. That B-Fix-It is a rules-based, competitive, multiple price mechanism used by the Bank of Jamaica to buy from and sell to authorized dealers and cambios foreign exchange. So it's for our Bank of Jamaica's trading with the authorized dealers and cambios. It does not directly affect any member of the public's transactions with their authorized dealers or cambios.
For BATV News, I'm Anthony Morgan.
And when we come back, find out if gas prices are going up or down tomorrow. Welcome back. The Office of Utilities Regulation, OUR, says utility companies paid out more than $34 million for service breaches between April and June. The data are contained in the latest quarterly performance report published by the OUR. Nordia Francis Williams has a breakdown of the figures.
The OUR says the $34 million were either paid out as a result of actions taken by the regulatory body or as compensation for breaches of the guaranteed standards. Through actions by the OUR, over $661,000 was secured for utility customers during the review period. Of this amount, the National Water Commission, NWC, accounted for by far the greatest share, 87%. The Jamaica Public Service Company, JPS, and Digicel made up the rest at 12% and 1% respectively. According to JPS's compliance report, the electricity company committed almost 16,000 breaches during the 3-month period, although it's still a lot. It's 40% less than the quarter before. JPS paid out $32 million in compensation for the breaches. All of the payments were made automatically through a credit on customers' bills. The most breaches were for estimated bills. JPS is penalized if they send a customer more than 2 consecutive estimated bills, along with estimated consumption. This made up 96% of JPS's breaches and compensatory payments. Meanwhile, the NWC's compliance report shows 825 breaches. That's a 42% increase over the preceding period. These had a potential payout of approximately $2.6 million. However, actual payments were just over $1 million, representing 39% of total potential payments. The payments were also made through automatic credits to the affected accounts. The standards with the highest incidence of breaches for the NWC were exceptional meter reading, which represented 31% of breaches. Meter reading accounted for 27% and access made up 13% of the total breaches. For BATV News, I'm Norda Francis Williams.
The traffic ticket amnesty has so far reeled in $160 million. National Security Minister Robert Montague says it's been operating smoothly so far. But the minister says if you still have outstanding tickets, you should quickly resolve them before the new traffic law comes into effect. The amnesty ends on October 31.
We have introduced and have running very smoothly a traffic ticket amnesty, which has resulted in over 20,000 calls to the call center, and we have so far collected 160 million Jamaican dollars. I want to use this opportunity to urge all members of the public who believe they may have an outstanding ticket to make that call before the new Road Traffic Act comes in with harsher penalties.
Gas prices are going down 47 cents a litre at the pumps tomorrow. Petrojam has released its latest ex-refinery costs. Diesel is going down 33 cents, while ultra-low sulfur diesel is down 13 cents. Kerosene is also down 25 cents a litre. However, propane is up 20 cents, so too butane, which is up 49 cents. And when we come back, the debate continues over Trinidad and Tobago's $50 billion budget. Regional and international news is up next. Welcome back. It's time now for regional and international news. Trinidad and Tobago's former Energy Minister Kevin Ramnarine says the Finance Minister's budget presentation on Monday seemed fixated on lambasting the energy sector. This includes multinational oil and gas companies that operate businesses in the country. Here's more.
If the Finance Minister wants to eventually do away with fuel subsidies in totality, as outlined in his budget presentation on Monday, that's his business, but it must be done in accordance with the laws of the land. The words of former Energy Minister Kevin Ramnarine, who says if government removes the fuel subsidy without repealing the Petroleum Production Levy and the Subsidy Act, it will be acting illegally.
Because once that act remains in force, there is the existence of a subsidy. And right now, we are paying more for premium gasoline than is the market price. The market price is about $4.27, but the population is being asked to pay $5.75. So the minister is making a profit.
He feels Monday's budget presentation was a direct singling out and attack of the energy sector, which he believes will turn off foreign oil and gas companies who do business here. Regarding Minister Imbert's pronouncement that the oil and gas companies could not pay corporation tax for the next 7 years because of incentives put in place by the PP government in 2014, Mr. Ramnarine said this was misleading to citizens as he attempted to explain what happened during his tenure.
Energy sector companies have always, in the history of Trinidad and Tobago, had the facility to claim 100% of capital expenditure. All that we did in 2014 was change the sequencing or the phasing by which they claim that money. We allowed them to claim it faster. We never gave them anything.
And even if that was not the case, he points out another concern which he says exposes the minister's confusion.
The fiscal incentives of 2014 expire in 3 months. They expire on the 31st of December 2017. As per law, if a fiscal incentive is expiring in 3 months, then how could it be impacting tax revenue for the next 7 years? It makes absolutely no sense.
The former energy minister says if these energy companies fork out billions for exploration, there must be some mechanism put in place for them to recover their cost. Janine Brown, C News.
With aid yet to reach some of Puerto Rico's poorest, many residents are saying Donald Trump's visit to the island yesterday didn't mean that much. Here's more.
Some of Puerto Rico's poorest residents offer no comment on Donald Trump's visit for one simple reason: they did not have the means to follow it.
We don't have electricity, no running water. We've lost everything, even the beds.
In this neighborhood known as the Workers' Quarter, little progress has been made. 2 weeks after Hurricane Maria came through here, locals are still waiting for help. What do you think is going to change after Donald Trump's visit?
Honestly, I don't know.
Right now, there is a tiny little bit of rain falling, barely a drizzle, but locals out here tell us that the consequences of this can be disastrous for some of the hardest hit folks in this area. In some cases, roofs were blown off and have yet to be replaced, leaving those below completely exposed to the elements.
Living without a roof is very hard. I wouldn't want anyone to go through this. But at least I'm an adult. There are children who don't have a roof, and that is very worrying.
Whether or not the U.S. president's trip to the island made a difference will be measured not in the days, but in the months to come as Puerto Rico struggles to overcome one of the worst crises in its history.
Yahoo has admitted that all 3 billion of its accounts were hacked in a 2013 data theft. This triples its earlier estimate of the size of the largest breach in history. It also sharply increases the legal exposure of its new owner, Verizon. More in this report.
Every single Yahoo account was hacked. Parent company Verizon revealed that the 2013 data breach affected all 3 billion user accounts, tripling what was already the largest cyber attack in history. The US internet provider sought to reassure customers.
Verizon is committed to the highest standards of accountability and transparency, and we proactively work to ensure the safety and security of our users and networks in an evolving landscape of online threats.
The actual number of individuals affected is likely below 3 billion, as many Yahoo users hold multiple accounts. But the cyber attack has been a costly one for the fallen web giant. After the last hacking revelations, Verizon renegotiated the price tag for buying Yahoo, knocking off $350 million. The sale was completed in June, and Yahoo now operates as part of Verizon's subsidiary Oath, along with AOL. A spokesperson for Oath said the recent revelations would not affect the terms of the deal. Verizon had already agreed to split any legal costs with previous owner Altaba. The hackers stole email addresses, encrypted passwords, phone numbers, and dates of birth, raising major concerns over how Yahoo stores and protects clients' data. The company already faces 41 class action lawsuits, but the implication of additional accounts could see that number rise.
Stay with us. Talking Stocks comes up next. Welcome back. It's now time for Talking Stocks. 41 stocks traded today, of which 17 advanced, 16 declined, and 8 traded firm. The main JSE index advanced by 846 points to close at 268,864 points. The junior index declined by 28 points to close at 2,931. Over 7 million units traded, valued at more than $49 million on the Jamaican dollar market. Cable and wireless, with over 2 million units changing hands, accounted for 31% of market volume. Caribbean Producers was second, with over 2 million units trading. Carreras, with over 787,000 units, accounted for 10% of market volume crossing the floor. Mayberry Investments was the top advancer, up 85 cents to close at $4.95, followed by 138 Student Living, up 60 cents to close at $5.40, and Pulse Investments, up 17 cents to close at $1.82. The main decliners were Lasco Manufacturing, losing 21 cents to close at $3.89, followed by Seprod Group, down $1.54 to close at $28.46, and Cable and Wireless, down 4 cents to close at $1. In foreign exchange trading, the U.S. ended the day selling for $129.57, while the Canadian sold for $103.94, and the British pound went for $170.96. And that's the news. But before we go, a recap of our top story. Multinational oil and gas exploration company Tullow Oil says it's seen images of what could be a major oil repository. They're now using 3D imaging to take a closer look. Energy Minister Dr. Andrew Wheatley says it's the first time in Jamaica's history that an oil explorer will carry out such detailed analysis. Thanks for watching. For more content, visit our website at batvja.com. I'm Kalila Reynolds. Pleasant viewing.